In the air to left field for Renfro. Deep far, and that is very gone. Grand slam for Hunter Renfro. Padres take the lead.
What a day in Milwaukee. The big comeback and a big hit by the big man, Hunter Renfro. He has homered in 4 consecutive games. He has hit in a career-high 7 consecutive games. He has done more than carry his load, as has the big Philadelphia slugger, Rhys Hoskins. He made his major league debut 1 year ago today. He hit his first career home run against the Padres last season. He has continued to hit well against San Diego in his 1-year-old big league career. Welcome back to Petco Park. It's been a while. Long road trip is over, and a successful road trip for the Padres. Mark Sweeney, they get ready for the first game of this 3-game series against Philadelphia. Start of a long homestand. The Angels and Diamondbacks coming in as well. And boy, you talk about those 7 games and the success that they had. A lot of it offensive. They put up some really big numbers both at Wrigley Field and Miller Park.
Against 2 very good teams that are vying for the playoffs. And you know what? Hitting is contagious, and you can see the Padres have done it with the long ball. 13 home runs, that's very good, but it's when they hit the home runs. Also, over 6 runs per game. If you match that with some pitching, which they did, you're going to win some ball games. You're going to win the road trip, and that's exactly what they did against 2 very good clubs. Offensively, they have to keep that going. They have to sustain that, and I think the offense is built to do that because their at-bats have improved as the year has gone on.
Going into that road trip, those were the 2 teams with the top records in the National League. The Cubs still have the best record in the National League, but now number 2, Philadelphia. So a good challenge for Jacob Nix making his major league debut here tonight.
Only 10 starts in the minor leagues, but this 22-year-old is set for success. And why I say that? He's a strike thrower. You're not going to rack up a lot of strikeouts, but he will pitch to contact. Very aggressive style on the mound. And Jacob Nix is one of those young starters that the Padres organization is very excited about tonight. Starts his induction into the major leagues.
It's a pretty big deal for Jacob Nix. He's an Orange County guy. A lot of friends and family here in attendance. And of course, the guy who will be managing him behind the dish is Austin Hedges. And with all of these young pitchers coming up, somebody has to be the calming influence. And he checks in with Austin when we come back. Visit your San Diego Cadillac dealers today. By Pacific Surfliner. Ride the Surfliner to your next Padres game. And by Evans Tire and Service Centers, home of the Buy Two, Get Two. Let's go downstairs. More in tonight's game with Annie Heilbrunn.
Thank you so much, Jesse. Well, starting pitcher Jacob Nix will be making his major league debut tonight, and he's the 5th starting pitcher to do so this season for the Padres. That's been keeping catcher Austin Hedges pretty busy, but it's a role he relishes. Here's more from Hedges on getting these young arms ready for the big leagues.
Yeah, just reminding them that they're here for a reason, that they belong here, and they wouldn't have been called up if the organization didn't think they were ready, and that they earned it. And once you earn it and once you feel like you belong here, I think things start coming together nicely. So just trying to push that along as quick as possible, and just like today for Knicks, it'll just be talking about just enjoy it and soak it in. It's you're only going to get one major league debut, so just enjoy. You know whether you have success or not, it's going to be a moment you're always going to remember, and whether he does well or not, he's going to learn from it, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, and it will be a weekend of rookies for the Padres. Knicks tonight, Walker Lockett tomorrow, and Joey Lucchesi on Sunday as the Padres continue to look at these young arms. Well, coming up, the Padres look to transfer the power, take their winning ways from the road to Petco Park. Padres, Phillies, first pitch coming up next on Fox Sports San Diego.
And that is some kind of strong right there. Ball is gone. There's your 2-run home run for Hunter Renfroe. That is very gone. Grand slam for Hunter Renfroe.
Padres with the dramatic victory yesterday afternoon in Milwaukee, and now the start of a long homestand. Weather report brought to you by your always sunny Honda dealers of San Diego County. Warm. We were gone this whole time on the road trip, and everybody back in San Diego was saying how hot it was. They weren't kidding, Mark Sweeney. They weren't kidding at all.
Hot.
Everybody talking about the weather. It is warm. It's cooled off a little bit, though, here downtown, and a lovely evening for baseball against Gabe Kapler's Philadelphia Phillies. What a turnaround in the first year under the new manager. Cesar Hernandez will lead off. Rhys Hoskins bats second with Nick Williams third. Santana, Cabrera, and Herrera in the middle. Maikel Franco, Jorge Alfaro in the pitcher. Former Padre draft pick Zach Eflin batting ninth for Philadelphia against Jacob Nix, 22 years old, making his big league debut. Nix is ready to go, and the first pitch of his major league career is a 95-mile-per-hour fastball for a called strike. And we're underway, as is his career.
What does Jacob have? He has a 4-pitch Nix. Fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup. Also a very good athlete, and he works and pitches to contact. That's going to be an encouraging thing. He's not going to rack up the strikeouts. He's a strike thrower.
He is in front of Hernandez 0-2, and this one is in the dirt. Heard a pretty good cheer there on strike one and strike two. He is from Orange County. I believe the number we heard was, 60 friends and family here tonight. And an awfully special moment for Jacob Nix and all associated with him. Hernandez is a switch hitter. And the 1-2 from Nix is slapped foul the other way. This is not an easy guy to strike out. And as you said, Nix is not a strikeout pitcher. And Hernandez is one of these guys. He's a lot of success when he puts the ball in play.
Yeah, and he loves the ball away, especially with 2 strikes. He likes to slap the ball and try to work counts.
Philly's second baseman takes high. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Something interesting tonight. Obviously, you're going to see Jacob Nix and trying to calm his nerves, but the chemistry between he and Austin Hedges.
On 2-2, another foul ball. And all of a sudden, after hopping in front of him, no balls and 2 strikes, this is now a 6-pitch battle with Cesar Hernandez. Nick's got a late start each of the last couple of years in spring training with a groin injury. Number 14 prospect in the Padre organization. And on 2-2, he misses with the changeup, so the count is full on Hernandez. Now the payoff pitch, and floated into left field. A little bit of a late break from Renfroe. He dives and he's able to recover and make the catch.
I don't think Hunter Renfroe saw this off the bat. Late reaction in left field. Remember, natural right fielder moved to left field, different angles, and you can see him slashing this ball to left. But the reaction and the successful dive forward for the first out of the game.
We talked about it in Milwaukee. Christian Yelich is a guy that can play all 3 outfield positions, but he thinks left is the most difficult. It's the one that gives him the most trouble, and Renfroe able to recover there. Now Hoskins, and he takes a fastball outside, 1-0.
I would say that is a true statement. Left field tends to just, that slicing line drive from the left-handed hitters especially, make it very troublesome. I also think it's the toughest place to throw the baseball. It's not the long throws, but how you position yourself to make those throws to second base.
The geometry of defense.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that it has a lot to do with footwork, and you don't think it is because it's such a short throw.
Hoskins made his big league debut a year ago today, so he and Nix will share a date in common, August 10th. Hoskins with his first major league home run 4 days after that debut. It was right here against Travis Wood of the Padres. Curveball fouled away, now 1-2. It's amazing you think about the fact this guy finished 4th in Rookie of the Year voting a season ago after making his major league debut in August.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people in the organization think this is the budding star, the guy that's going to be the example in the locker room.
Hit hard and caught at third base by Corey Spangenberg. The Nixes are happy.
Here's the Padres defense brought to you by Nissan. From left to right, Hunter Renfroe, Manuel Margot, and Franmil Reyes. On the left side, Corey Spangenberg, Freddie Galvis, Asuaje, and Hosmer on the right side. Austin Hedges catching the 22-year-old right-hander, Jacob Nix.
2 outs and the base is empty. Nick Williams stands in. Left-handed hitting outfielder, slashes 1 foul the other way. Williams, one of the guys that came over in that Cole Hamels trade a couple of years ago with the Rangers. Last year he hit .288 in the big leagues. That number has come down a bit, but they're happy with the power and they're happy with how he's swinging the bat as of late. Hitting higher in the batting order. Hits a curveball here, wraps it foul, and Nix in front of him. No balls and 2 strikes.
You know what, Jesse, I say 22 years old because where were you at 22?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think everyone has to realize this is the top level. 22 years old, I was sitting in single A ball wondering if I was going to make it to the next day. And he's here towing the rubber and pitching for the Padres.
Another hard hit ball the other direction, and this one will fall in front of Renfroe for a base hit. So Nick Williams, a 2-out opposite field single. Let's take a look at the keys to the game, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
Well, the theme is Nick's in match. He has to change eye levels, also change different looks with the off-speed pitch. And Reyes and Renfroe have to stay hot. 3 home runs for Reyes in the last 4 games, and Hunter Renfroe 4 straight, including the grand slam yesterday.
Really one of the most exciting games of the year for the Padres. An incredible 9th inning comeback. They scored 6 times in the top of the 9th inning to come from behind to beat the Brewers 8-4. The Renfroe slam. Reyes homered right after that. Kind of gets a little bit lost in the shuffle, obviously. Hunter's hit gave him the lead. Carlos Santana, you see the on-base percentage among the National League leaders in walks. Only Bryce Harper has more coming into play today. Nix doesn't walk anybody, and he just misses there, 2-0. Got a couple of good guys with eyes, good eyes in the Philadelphia lineup here tonight against Nix, who has a very low walk rate. Kind of an interesting meeting of the strengths.
I think if you look at the Philadelphia Phillies, they emphasize the walk.
On 2-0, he's swinging away and fouls it back.
That sometimes is not easy because it's not necessarily just taking pitches. I think it's being more aggressive in an area that you specialize in. These young Phillies have performed very well to this point, but offensively, they've gone through some stretches where they've struggled.
Batting average not good. They strike out a lot and they walk a lot collectively. Now 2-2. Saw Nix a little bit in spring training this year, and that fastball is expected to go in that 93 to 95 range. Padres selected him in the 3rd round, 2015. Same draft class as both Brett Kennedy and Trey Wingeter, who both made their major league debuts this past week. He's the 13th different Padre to make his major league debut here in 2018.
You're going to see a lot of that.
Every guy says going into this game, his big league debut, I just want to treat it like any other game. None of them seem to be able to do that. It's probably an impossibility.
Now you'll sweat a little bit more. Obviously a hot night. You have anxiety, and it's a different game. Another layer of stands above the ones you're used to.
Just a little bit low. Pretty good looking changeup there from Nix, but he does issue a walk, and now the Phillies, after Nix retired the first 2, get a base hit and a walk, and the former Met has Drupal Cabrera coming up.
Pretty good changeup and good location. Mike Winters, the home plate umpire, sees it very well. But I like the location. Borderline pitch. That's not called.
So 2 on and 2 out for the former Met. Cabrera acquired by Philadelphia a couple of days before the deadline. Started off 3 for 23 in a Philadelphia uniform, but has come on a bit as of late. And Nix hits the inside edge with a fastball, 0-1.
Well, he's going to have to establish that ball in, even off the plate. Try to speed up these Phillies. Most of these guys have not seen him. They've seen the scouting report. They've watched video. And until you see it out of his hands, so they'll most likely take some pitches at times.
Hits that one on the screws. It's knocked down by Aswahe. He cannot recover in time to get the out. And now the Phillies have the bases loaded. I talked about it right out of the chute. He's going to pitch to contact. And when that's the case, your defense is going to have to come up and make some tough plays.
They're going to have to come up big. And this has some topspin. Makes it very difficult. You see Carlos Aswahe trying to fight that. And not enough time to get Cabrera going down the base. Straight a little bit too far after that ricochet.
Ruled an infield single for Cabrera, so bases loaded, 2 outs. And the left-handed hitting center fielder Odubel Herrera stands in for the Phils.
Herrera's known for taking the first pitch of the game. Typically that's when he is in that leadoff spot. I think he hunts that fastball in this situation.
272 average, tops on the team. And he does take with the pitch inside, 1-0. Nix and Austin Hedges were new acquaintances here in the top of the first inning. He made 10 minor league starts this year, Nix. 9 at AA San Antonio, the last one at El Paso. And in his AAA debut in 2018, 6 shutout innings, 5 hits, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. And hey, if you're Andy Green, only so much you can do once you send the guy out there. This is what they call on-the-job training. Got Hernandez, he got Hoskins, but now Williams, Santana, and Cabrera all aboard. And a very dangerous hitter at the plate. That should end it. And a scoreless top of the first inning for Jacob Nix in his major league debut. Scoreless top of the first in his major league debut. Andy Green has put his lineup together, and the Padre lineup brought to you by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. All the hot bats are in there. Margot, Hosmer, and Renfroe here in the first inning. Under Renfroe now making his 8th consecutive start. Reyes, Hedges, and Spangenberg in the middle, with Freddie Galvis, Carlos Asuaje, and Jacob Nix batting 7, 8, and 9.
Well, time to look at the scouting report of Zach Eflin, a former first-round pick of the San Diego Padres. Uses curveball change for ground balls. The last time out, he was very efficient and got some ground balls against the Marlins. And Robin Hood fastball, not a lot of movement, but at the top of the strike zone. Does have a 2-seamer, but likes that 4-seamer right at the top of the zone.
Yeah, that's a new thing for Zach Eflin. He was always kind of a 2-seam guy until this year. You take a look at those numbers, and in 2018, just a different pitcher, the way he's worked, and it has worked for him as he delivers a fastball for a strike to Margot. Eflin comes in 8-3 with a 3.61 ERA, and Margot comes in red hot. All the talk about Reyes and Renfroe. Margot also a phenomenal road trip. And that's what it takes to put together a winning road trip. You got to have more than 1 or 2 guys swinging a good bat. And after Margot went 6 for 19 in Chicago, he was 4 for 11 in Milwaukee, and he had that 5 RBI game on Tuesday. Eflin in front of him, and the fastball misses 1 and 2.
Well, high fastball, especially with 2 strikes. He's going to try to live there and show that breaking ball. Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, asked him to step on the pedal when it comes to fastball velocity.
Velocity worked for him right there. 96 past Margot and 1 away.
Here's the Phillies defense brought to you by Cadillac. From left to right, Hoskins, Herrera, and Williams. On the left side, Franco, Cabrera, Hernandez, and Santana on the right side. Alfaro catching Zach Eflin.
Phillies come into play today 64-50, a game in front of the Braves in the National League East. We talked on that last road trip about how the Cubs and the Brewers had the top records in the National League. Well, now it's the Phillies with the second best record in the National League. So a tough little stretch here for the Padres, but obviously they answered the bell both at Wrigley and at Miller Park.
Yeah, because going into that road trip, even with the off days, that's a struggle no matter what you're going to go through, because those are two talented clubs. I think the Padres realized that. They had a team meeting in Chicago. Sometimes you need to get yourself set up, as we see the NL East standings. Phillies and Braves has been a great story. Nationals, not so much.
Yeah, not exactly how everybody expected it to look at this point. Well, Tapper and Alfaro able to make the play. 2 down for Zach Eflin here in his Petco Park debut. So Hunter Renfroe coming up is obviously the story of the day yesterday, and really the story of the last week for the Padres. What a swing.
Well, you start talking about the struggles he had with right-handed pitching last year, going into spring training when he was going to make those adjustments. Had a lot of very good at-bats with 2 strikes, including that grand slam by Hunter Renfroe.
Hunter with 12 home runs this season, 8 of them now against right-handed pitching. And of course, I think like any manager, right? After the game, Andy Green was asked about that, and he wanted to talk, it seemed, as much about the 0-2 pitch that he took as opposed to the one he hit out the very next pitch, because it was a fastball, it was close, and Renfroe was able to lay off.
And I agree with that, because you have to stay within the strike zone. You've heard them preach that so many times, but sometimes that's very difficult. You try to hit a pitcher's pitch, and you're going to make a lot of outs.
Just a totally different guy at the plate. As you take a look at the Kia drive to success, Hunter Renfroe has had success. And 12 RBIs in the last 7 days, more than anybody else in all of baseball. 4 of them on 1 swing yesterday against the Brewers. Eflin in front of him. And Hunter sends that one out to straightaway center field. Herrera's got a beat on it, though. And he'll make the catch. Just missed it. Scoreless after 1. Padres and the Phillies opening the weekend at Petco. A walk in the top of the first inning, but the Phils left the bases loaded. He threw 25 pitches, and he survived. Now maybe you take a deep breath and try and get to some normalcy out there in your second inning of work. Michael Franco leading off, the number 7 hitter for the Phillies. Hits the first one right at Corey Spangenberg, and 1 pitch, 1 out. That's welcome for Jacob Nix here in the second. Number 8 hitter is the catcher Jorge Alfaro. Padres and the Phillies played right after the All-Star break at Citizens Bank Park, and Alfaro had a miserable day defensively in that first game. He's got some big numbers when it comes to throwing guys out. But a lot of errors, a lot of miscues back behind the plate. Kind of a high-risk, high-reward guy.
Yeah, and a lot of laziness behind the plate. And I say that because there's some youth to that. And sometimes that can be perceived as laziness. It has a lot to do with some of the things he's been used to in the minor leagues that really haven't been exposed so much until you get to the big leagues. Alfaro has a huge arm, a lot of potential, but there's still some growing pains to go through that position.
Late on that fastball, 0-2 from Nix.
I think for Jacob Nix, it had to feel so good just to walk off the mound and get those high fives.
Oh, 2 on Alfaro, and he just got a piece. Nix mechanically, it seems pretty simple and straightforward out there.
Very sound. I think mechanically he looks very comfortable. I think it has a lot to do with how he moves hitters' feet. Be able to pitch inside to set up his off-speed stuff. But as advertised, comes at you, gets the ball, and gets on the rubber.
A.J. Preller scheduled to join us next inning. We'll talk to the Padre general manager about Jacob Nix and really about the whole state of things with the Padre roster.
I think some of the interesting things you see with the young pitchers now is that pitch clock that was in the minor leagues. How these guys are on the rubber, have to advance themselves and get the ball and go.
Good habits. Alfaro, meanwhile, the batter is doing everything he can to slow down the tempo of Jacob Nix.
The gamesmanship, you have to have it.
That'll get through for a base hit. So on 0-2, Alfaro digs one out. And he's going to dig around first base, but ball comes back in pretty quickly. 1 out single in the top of the second inning for the Phils. Time now for our Valley View Casino trivia question. Who holds the Padre record for most career Grand Slams? I suppose it can't be Hunter Renfroe. That's too easy. Although he has hit each of the last 4 Padre Grand Slams, including the 2 that they've got here in 2018. Pinch hit against Cincinnati in June and then yesterday in Milwaukee. Eflin pushes the bunt hard to Hosmer. Eric going to try and get the lead runner. He does. Eflin digs and makes it to first base ahead of the return throw. But a nice defensive play by Eric Hosmer, who's been doing that all year long.
Well, playing at defense on the bunt play, you can be very aggressive on a bad bunt, a hard bunt. Eric Hosmer knows the accuracy that he brings and also the arm strength. It's a good force out, especially with Alfaro not having that speed. Jacob Nix loves that effort.
So now Eflin's got to run the bases. Top of the order, Cesar Hernandez. And another first pitch strike from Jacob Nix. Hernandez 6 for his last 20 with a homer. He also had a Little League home run in their series at Arizona. Dropped down a bunt, and after this, that, and the other, he ended up coming all the way around to score. Eight bunt hits this year for Hernandez. That leads the National League. Phil's just played 3 against the Diamondbacks in Phoenix. Struggled. Dropped 2 out of 3. Including a shutout defeat in their last game on Wednesday. The Phillies enjoyed an off day here in San Diego yesterday, while the Padres were dramatically coming from behind in Milwaukee. Second walk issued by Nix, and as mentioned, I mean, in his entire minor league career, he's been someone who has hardly ever issued walks. But this is a very different situation here tonight. So 2 on and 2 out for the number 2 hitter, Rhys Hoskins, and certainly a dangerous guy to deal with here.
Now, second time around, Jesse, you have to be careful of first pitches. We've already seen it out of the hands. They've talked in the dugout. Now with runners in scoring position and your RBIs out there, watch for that first pitch. Austin Hedges was thinking along with that line. He hasn't landed that changeup yet, and until he does, that's going to be eliminated by these hitters. Austin Hedges knows that.
Hoskins hard hit but foul down the left field line. 1-1.
The reason why I say it, if you don't land the off-speed pitch, it goes to one thought.
One of the hottest hitters in baseball since the All-Star break. That said, he is now 0 for his last 17. That's how hot he was right out of the chute from the All-Star break. This one is struck well, but they had him played well. Reyes goes back, makes the catch, and a good bit of outfield defense there by the Padres. Another scoreless inning for Jacob Nix.
And the Phillies, and I am joined by Cindy Nix, Jacob Nix's mom, starting pitcher for the Padres tonight. Watching your son make his major league debut, what has this been like for you so far?
It is unbelievable. It's true. It's literally a dream come true. If someone asks me, how are you? My answer is living the dream. This is every kid's dream. And I was okay until I got here and saw all of these family and friends, and I lost it.
What are the nerves like for you?
Well, like I said, I was okay until I got here, and then I started realizing like how nervous and what his stomach must feel like, and then I lost it because I can't take that from him.
Now
I can't fix it.
You guys are from Orange County, so like you mentioned, a lot of friends and family. How many people do you think you have here, and who here is special from your family?
We probably have 100 people from our immediate family, friends, our community, past coaches, mentors that we've had. The community is amazing that we are from, that we live in, that we have been through. This right here is just a fraction of my immediate family, and this is my son's girlfriend and her family from Texas. Everybody that I could possibly get notified on Facebook is here.
What was Jacob like growing up as a child, as a teenager, making his way through the system and just working so hard to get to this point?
You know, I tell everyone that probably to me the most special thing about Jake is how he has worked through the adversities in his life. He's had a few things in his life that could have been game changers, that could have been career ending, and he worked through every single one of them to get to this point. And, you know, he played every sport. He played flag football. He played basketball and NJB football, basketball. He played soccer. And he was good at every single thing he tried. He was just that kid, that really didn't put in a bunch of effort, and he was good. But we knew from like 4 years old that baseball was his game. He would take us outside and he'd say, Grandpa, will you play catch with me? And Grandpa would play catch until his arm would fall off. And then he'd say, Grandma, will you play catch with me? And Grandma would be like, oh, sure, kid, I'm not really good, but okay, I'll play catch. And then he'd say, Mom, will you play catch with me? And I'd play catch. And then it was like, okay, for God's sakes, kid, we can't throw the ball anymore. And he would go outside and throw the ball for hours against a block wall next to my parents' house. Hours. And it would just bounce back at him, and he'd play all by himself. And we were like, that's his game.
Well, pretty proud mama right here. Very special moment, rightfully so. 2 scoreless innings so far too, right? So good start.
It's all I can hope for. I don't expect him to come out here and be the best. He's 22 years old, came right out of high school. Basically very little experience even in the minor leagues as far as, the competition. This is absolutely amazing to me, and the fact that he has remained so strong and gets out here and he can just turn all this off and battle he's amazing. I don't know how he does it.
Jesse Sweens, a lot of Knicks jerseys out here, just a ton. It's a sea of Knicks jerseys. Proud mama right here, and rightfully so.
They didn't know what they were getting when they got Knicks fans, I'll tell you what. They had no idea.
It's really, really cool out here. Guys, back over to you.
It's beautiful. Thank you, Annie, and thank you, Cindy, for taking some time to visit with us. Austin Hedges goes after the first pitch, trying to drop it down into right field, and he will. Santana couldn't get there. Williams was coming in from right, and the bloop single for Austin Hedges, the first Padre hit of the night. Boy, you talk about a proud mama.
Oh, they should, because at 22 years old, he has gone through adversity, and I think everyone has that story that takes him to the big leagues, but now at 22 years old, he's performing at the big league level. He should be proud, and also it takes a lot of people behind you to take you into that path.
I thought that was neat. His mom, Cindy, trying to name as many people as she could, or at least acknowledge as many people as she could. Takes a village. 22 years old. Spangenberg with a run-out base runner. Scoreless game in the bottom of the second inning. Jacob Nix making his major league debut. Corey batting .238 this year. He's hitting 5 consecutive games. Had a day off yesterday. Fastball, 0-2.
Now the Padres aren't getting good looks at that fastball. Margot with the awkward swing, but also they've had some takes where it's almost like they're not seeing it out of the hands of Eflin. Big, tall stature. Maybe you don't pick up that release point. Obviously, the velocity is there as well.
6'6", 215 pounds. Saw Reyes lay off a couple of close ones in his at bat before eventually striking out at a well-placed pitch at the knees. The big strike zone with Fran Milo. Eflin in his last 10 starts 7-1 with a 3.22 ERA. That includes the great one his last time out Saturday against Miami. 8 innings and only 85 pitches. Allowed 3 runs on 4 hits. Gave up a home run late that cost him a shot at a complete game. But look, anytime you can go 8 complete, keep it under 90 pitches, you're doing something right.
Yeah, I think for younger pitchers, how you manipulate a lineup and go through 2, 3, 4 times, that's a challenge, and you have to have secondary stuff to go along with this fastball. And if you go back to that Miami start, I think he had a lot to do with his breaking ball success. I've seen a lot of fastballs early in this contest.
Hedges is running, and on 3-2, a foul ball at the plate.
Well, Hedges with only 1 stolen base on the year, but you're going to have to push the envelope. Why not? Alfaro has a very good arm, but it takes a while for him to throw that. But you have to have an opportunity on the base pass. If Eflin is slow to the plate, just set those runners in motion.
Element of surprise now gone. We'll see if they keep that on this time on 3-2. They do, and again, Spangenberg fouls it off.
The reaction of Austin Hedges was priceless on that foul ball. Back-to-back pitches. Getting ready to catch 9 innings and
running some wind sprints between first and second. Yeah.
It's like, come on. Come on, Corey, hook me up. You know this ball's going in the gap.
Eighth pitch of the at-bat coming to Spangenberg. Hedges running again. A swing and a miss. Alfaro's throw. Not in time. And stolen base number 2 on the season for Austin Hedges.
Well, he went breaking ball and it's in the dirt, and Alfaro throws off a 1 knee. Austin Hedges steals the base and he gives the signals safe.
Hot night, like you said, he's going to catch 9 innings. It's only the second, and he's doing interval running between first and second.
He's having fun with the dugout as well.
Mentioned the volatility of the arm for Jorge Alfaro, the catcher, and only the Mets have allowed more stolen bases in the National League this year than have the Phillies. So runner in scoring position, 2 out for Freddie Galvis, and a close pitch goes Freddie's way, 1-0. Former Philly had a field day in Philly.
Yeah, swinging the bat well, going back to Philly where they absolutely love Freddie Galvis. But the Padre fans are realizing, especially with that defense, why a lot of people just grow fondly of Freddie Galvis's game. He has a calmness at the shortstop position. Saw the home run in Milwaukee.
Galvis had back-to-back 3-hit games against the Phils in his return there. It was the first time in his career he had back-to-back 3-hit games. Taking, and now 3-0 with first base open, and Carlos Asuaje waiting on deck.
That's a good take, and why? Because a 2-0 slider geared up for that fastball, and then he gets to a 3-0 count.
Galvis with a hitter's count. Now the pitch from Eflin, and a strike. Fills it up, 3-2.
I think Freddie was looking for that slider again. Got a 3-1 fastball, middle in. Surprised he didn't take a swipe at it.
Galvis homered yesterday in Milwaukee. A couple of walks, a couple of runs scored. Finally got it going at Miller Park. He had just had terrible numbers in his career there for whatever reason. As a Philly, they did a nice job yesterday, and the Padres come from behind win. Now trying to contribute tonight again against his old team. Another 3-2 and into center field. That's going to get down. Hedges rounding third. Here comes the throw from Herrera. Cut off. Padres take a 1-0 lead here in the second inning. Galvis gets him again. And the Knickses have something else to cheer about.
How about that unselfish at bat by Freddie Galvis? 3-0 take, 3-1 take, and he gets a mistake. Slashing this ball in the left center gap. Absolutely love this because with that stolen base of Austin Hedges, it comes up big. Double Herrera just airmails this, and Eflin has the cutoff. Freddie Galvis sees that mistake and goes into second base in scoring position.
Swahe will be walked intentionally. And so you got Galvis in scoring position at second. Now Swahe at first, all set up for Jacob Nix to do something dramatic here in his first Major League plate appearance. It's twice. I had to run twice. 2 foul balls. Nix in his minor league career, 1 for 5 with a single and 4 strikeouts. That's it as a professional. And he fouls that one off at the plate, 0-1.
Well, what did his mom say? Cindy said he played basketball, he played soccer, baseball all the time. I know he can swing a bat. He has to.
Not a lot of launch angle on that last one. We'll see what he's able to do here. 2 on and 2 out. Padres have taken the lead in the second inning. Got to measure him up.
I know that section of fans go crazy with an RBI single here.
Padres have made Eflin work here in the second. About to throw his 25th pitch of the inning. And a good take. Natural athlete, like you said. That'll get some cheers.
Oh, yeah.
Jacob's family here. Girlfriend's family here. Friends here.
A lot of social media posts right there.
Oh, they're snapping away. Got it. That's how the second inning will come to a close, but the Padres give Jacob Nix a lead. Freddie Galvis coming through. Slapped it the other direction. Austin Hedges using his wheels to put himself in scoring position, then come on in to score. 1-0 Padres after 2. Padres a 1-0 lead as we go to the third inning, and talked about this earlier. Time to answer our Valley View Casino trivia question. Who holds the Padre record for most career Grand Slams? Your guess.
Phil Nevin.
Steve Finley. Oh!
Nev.
Nicely done.
Third base coach of the New York Yankees.
Hunter Renfroe, what, has 4 now?
Pretty good chance he's going to chase him down.
I think so. Nick Williams leads off against Jacob Nix. He's got a lead.
Tell me something about Phil Nevin. He was almost like a left-handed pull hitter. That's how good he hit the ball to right center.
Bases loaded numbers are always really interesting to me for individual hitters, because there are some guys who really seem to go crazy. I remember Robin Ventura for whatever reason.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it works.
He's the one
Hunter,
that comes to mind.
Yeah.
When you think of grand slams, it's Robin Ventura comes to mind. And why you say that? That's the first strikeout.
Put it in the books. Nick Williams goes down looking. Well-placed fastball. And they got it. Authenticator goes to work. Now Santana. Low strike to get Williams. High strike to start off 0-1.
Well, I love it because Nick Williams got the first single off Jacob Nix. He comes back and punches him out.
So yeah, Robin Ventura, one of those great bases loaded guys, and now Hunter becoming one clearly already. I mean, you hit your team's last 4 grand slams, that'll do. Just something mentally for some guys.
And there is, and what it comes down to is that you have to realize how much pressure that pitcher has on him. Nowhere to put you. And the good ones just have that calmness in those scenarios.
Santana trying to poke that one against the shift, but Galvis does it all and makes the play. 2 away. Most guys' numbers are elevated with the bases loaded, but there are hitters who seem to take it to the next level, and Hunter would appear to be one of those, and that's a good guy to have in the middle of your batting order.
It's an important time for Hunter Renfroe to take it to another level because there's been inconsistency at times, and he knows that. In his interview after the game yesterday with Bob, I thought spoke volumes. He said, I just wanted to make sure that I had I factored in a win, a team win, and that's a good sign.
Nick's trying to work his first 1-2-3 inning, and he gets ahead of Asdrubal Cabrera. Manfred got off to a slow start with the Phils, but has come alive. Infield single his first time, and now a high drive to right. Franmil Reyes is there, and it is a 1-2-3 third for Jacob Nix. A.J. Preller when we return. In Jacob Nix's major league debut. Welcome back to Petco Park with Mark Sweeney, Annie Heilbrunn, and our Fox Sports San Diego crew. I'm Jesse Agler, now joined by the Executive Vice President, General Manager of the Padres, A.J. Preller. And A.J., I guess, The obvious place to start tonight would be with the guy on the mound for the Padres, Jacob Nix, making his major league debut. We've had a little bit of this year, haven't we?
Yeah, we've had a few debuts, especially recently. And not Jacob, he's was a draft pick we had in the 2015 draft. A guy that he's kind of moved up a level at a time for us, and he's been a guy that we're excited to see. So. I think the scouting group, player development group did a great job, selecting Jacob and then pushing through the system.
I think you think of Eric Lauer, obviously Joey Lucchese, Brett Kennedy got an opportunity the other day. You're starting to see an influx of younger talent, especially on the mound. What's the philosophy moving forward?
Yeah, I just think there's a lot of guys that that are in the minor leagues right now. They've kind of earned their way to get an opportunity to see what they can do at the big league level. So I think again, part of bigger picture plan and giving guys opportunity. A lot of the guys have earned it. So I think here the last couple months we had a chance to see Jacob, see Brett, see Trey Wingenter, and some more here in the system. We'll probably be calling up here in the next few weeks.
When you're getting ready to make these decisions, how much are you weighing the numbers that a guy puts up in the minor leagues? Because both Kennedy and Nick's really outstanding. If you look at the basic pitching stats, how much does that play into it as opposed to just sort of the usual development and what you guys are seeing?
Yeah, I think everybody, Sam Gainey, his group, everybody has, player plans and different goals that we want to see for them to progress and move up to different levels and eventually to, move up to the big league level. And I think in the guys' case that we've seen here in the last few weeks, they've accomplished the goals that we're looking for. Part of that is definitely performance. And, like you mentioned, I think, in Jacob's case and, with Brett, they were two of the better performers for us at the upper levels of the minor leagues.
Margot strikes out, one away.
AJ, we've always heard you say that the player will tell you when they're ready. And I think that's a pretty important phrase in the game of baseball, not only just from the minor leagues to the big league level, but also there's other levels from AA to AAA, for example. It's a big step, no matter what step you take that. Are there certain traits that you look for from a pitching side, for example?
Yeah, I think, obviously you're looking, guys that can control the strike zone, guys that can throw secondary pitches and have different options. Guys with the knock. But I think, it's a process. You obviously have your coaches that are with the guys every single day. You have different coordinators that go down and take a look and give me opinions. And then you have our scouting group that goes down and gives a fresh look at kind of where guys are at, snapshot, moment in time. And you put all the information together, and it's a really talented group of evaluators that we have that'll give me the information and help to make calls about when guys are ready. A lot of times you can kind of tell when the player's, he's gotten to a point where he's dominating that level, he's ready for a new challenge, and I don't think we've been shy about pushing some guys when they're ready.
Hosmer has now hit in 14 out of his last 16, and AJ, how about this guy, Hunter Renfroe, and how about the next guy, Franmil Reyes?
It's been fun to watch. I think over the last few months have been some tough stretches, and really to see the way Hunter and Franmil, have come through that and swung the bat here the last few weeks, and Manny Margot and Austin Hedges as well, and some guys that are, in Fran Mills' case, kind of their first taste of the big leagues, and Hunter and Manny and Hedges, kind of that year two, and they've taken steps, and I think that's part of the program, and I think it's been nice to see their development.
If we touch on Manuel Margot, I think that's the one that I think a lot of people, a lot of fans, and I've heard them ask me, is this the guy that is going to be an all-star caliber guy? We didn't see it at the beginning of the year, but that's your second year. You're making those big adjustments. What do you see Manuel Margot being in the future?
Yeah, I think just like the understanding that there's definitely a development stage and steps for guys when they get to the big leagues, and you can try to prepare guys as much as you want in the minor league level, but I think Mark Grant was saying it the other day. You get to the big leagues, and the 8-hole hitter for the Milwaukee Brewers is probably the 3-hole hitter in AAA at these levels, and there's only certain things that you can find, that you can see at the big league level, and there's definitely more development that needs to take place for certain guys when they get to the major leagues. They got to get used to the travel, the speed of the game, the pace of play, playing against the best of the best every single night, and seeing things that quite frankly they're probably not seeing at any of the minor league levels, no matter how much we try to recreate that. So there's going to be development at the big league level. Andy and his staff understands that. I think they embrace it, and hopefully we're seeing some guys take some steps here in the second half.
You hear a lot of times in sports about a sophomore slump or a sophomore jinx, but that's what it is. It's the league adjusting to you, and it's you kind of learning what does and does not work at this level. I don't think anybody said it's supposed to be easy year two in the big leagues.
Yeah, I think back to Margot, the league definitely adjusts back, and then it's constantly a game of adjustment.
Cabrera is going to start the double play, and that is going to be the bottom of the third. We'll talk more about some of the big names coming for the Padres when we return. Thanks to A.J. Preller. Major League debut, and we're visiting with Padre General Manager A.J. Preller, talking about Knicks and some of the other big names and big bodies down in the minor leagues that are coming. We've seen 13 Major League debuts this season for the Padres, 5 starting pitchers, and you got a handful of rookies right now in the Padres starting rotation, including, of course, Knicks, who has more than held his own against a very good Philadelphia team here tonight. And AJ, I think as we were going to break, we were just kind of talking about the way guys are accelerated through the system, and some of the others who were there, these are just pitchers. And these are names, I think, that are already becoming pretty familiar to a lot of Padre fans, and some pretty interesting prospects down there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, the thing that's exciting for us that we talk about is it's not really just tied to one guy, one pitcher or one player. We feel like, we have different waves of guys coming, and, a bunch of guys that can.
Hunter Renfroe flashing the leather. Looked like it might be Margot. Looked like it might be Galvis. It was Hunter.
I didn't know, Jess, if you wanted me to jump in or.
Yeah, no, you can take it anytime you want.
Talk about the system. I could try and call that, but yeah, no. I mean, I think in general, like we've talked about having a lot of different guys come, and you need numbers, you need quality. Obviously on the mound as well, just with the injury situation. Pitchers getting hurt. We figure there's strength in numbers, and the guys that you put up there. Chris Paddock has been tremendous this year. It's kind of video game numbers, and I think he's a guy that for us we got from the Marlins a few years ago. Fernando Rodney deal. He went out and pitched really well, got hurt, and he's come back better than ever here this year. Mackenzie Gore obviously gets a lot of attention, being a high pick last year, and has gone out and had a nice year in the Midwest League for us. Adrian Morejon was a top sign a few years ago with that big international class, and has gone out and really pitched very well as well on the high A level. Michel Baez just got called up, made his double A debut tonight, and you see kind of the ripple down or trickle up effect with with some of the guys getting called up to the big leagues, or guys like Logan Allen going to AAA, and others get more opportunities. So it's nice to see.
I think a lot of people would like to get an update, if you don't mind, of Fernando Tatis Jr. And he went down with the injury. What are you expecting out of him?
Yeah, I think good news. Everybody kind of went through and said, hey, the surgery is it's been something that's pretty commonplace, unfortunately, with a lot of big league players. But guys have come back 6 to 8 weeks. His surgery went well. Dr. Sheridan did it there in Phoenix, and he's starting the rehab process right now. And I think if we really wanted to push it, ultimately, I think we probably would see Fernando back in 6 weeks or so. But the minor league season coming to an end, I think the biggest key is just getting him ready for next year. We'll probably talk about whether winter ball there's opportunity to play or not. But look forward to seeing him back on the field here starting next year.
Yeah, with winter ball, is that something that you encourage, or is it more of at bats, or him just getting healthy and being healthy for spring training next year?
Yeah, I think we'll sit down as a group. Once he kind of checks the boxes of we feel like from a health standpoint he's good to go. I think we've encouraged our guys. We have a lot of guys that like playing winter ball and want to keep getting better and developing. Fernando played last year as the first pick in the winter league draft, and he wanted to play, and we encourage it. My guess is probably going to want to play this year. So we'll see where he's at from a health standpoint and make that call here as we get to the end of the season.
Jacob Nix doing work here in the 4th inning. All of a sudden, he has retired the last 6 Phillies to come to the plate. And now a 1-2 count on the number 8 hitter, Alfaro.
Well, to me, watching Jacob Nix, it's really landing that breaking ball that's going to help him. To change up was straying at times at the beginning of his start, but he has all 4 pitches that he can throw for a strike.
Yeah, he's just added recently the slider. It gives him a little different shape, and he's basically throwing the 3-pitch mix, and seen him with a good changeup there. So nice to see.
Good changeup, good result. Second strikeout in Jacob Nix's major league career, and he has set down 7 in a row.
Thanks, AJ.
By T-Mobile, what do you know? Max Muncy in the thin air of Denver, Colorado. That was a 2-run homer to tie the game against the Rockies. The Dodgers have now gone in front as the Rockies try and stay in the mix in the National League West. They came into today 3.5 in back of LA.
How about the Dodgers with Kenley Jansen's injury? That's devastating. But yesterday's game, Jock Peterson and Muncy come off the bench to hit pinch hit home runs. That's how strong they are offensively now.
It's a pretty good group. We're going to trade A.J. Preller for Tony Gwynn Jr. Welcome. Thank you to
I don't know if I'll
AJ.
be as entertaining, but
We just got a lot of speed in the booth. I know that.
Yeah.
it's about all I can offer too.
Like Austin Hedges stealing that base earlier.
Giving his own safe sign out there.
Not bad at all. Franmil Reyes to lead it off against Zach Eflin. Padres have the 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Hey, Jacob Nix seems pretty comfortable.
He does. If he got through that first inning, which I'm sure his nerves were elevated through the roof at that point, but he's been as advertised, right? A lot of pitching to contact, getting the ground ball, making these guys swing the bat. Not overpowering, but seems to know what he's doing out there.
All of a sudden, it looks like the scouting report. He's going to be in command. He's going to be in control. He's going to get contact, but it's not going to be hard contact.
Yeah, and I said, Tony, I think when he walked off the mound that first inning and getting those high fives from all his teammates, that's when you almost settle down and say, this is the game that I'm so used to.
Yeah. I think the thing that I liked in that first inning, you could see him talking to himself out there. Like, he wasn't so nervous where there was nothing coming out. You saw him kind of talking himself through some of those situations. That's a guy who's thinking on his feet at that point.
Franmil Reyes has homered in 3 of his last 4 games and included the 477-foot blast at Wrigley. He strikes out here. That's 6 strikeouts for Zach Eflin. 1 away in the bottom of the 4th. What do you guys remember about your major league debuts?
I didn't have feeling in my legs. That's a definite. and I was wondering if I was going to swing at the first pitch or take it, and that's another priority. And I just wanted to get home and go into the hotel and sleep and realize, you know what, I don't know what I just did, but I was excited about it.
It seemed pretty cool, I think. Yeah, no, I was the same way. Couldn't feel my legs at all. And it's kind of tough as a hitter. You kind of need those to swing. And I just remember I was off of Brandon Webb and a ground to first. Connor Jackson makes a nice play. And I just remember running to first base thinking the whole time, I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs. But, you know, it's a moment that I think everybody remembers, and nobody, you'll never forget the moment for the rest of your life.
Who was your first hit off?
Man, why am I forgetting this?
I put you on the spot.
Wilson. The beard.
Brian Wilson?
Brian Wilson.
I like that.
Doubled down the right field line.
You just cruised in the second.
I did. How about you? Who was your first hit off of?
It wasn't a name like that, but I know it was against the Chicago Cubs. And
you don't remember?
I just don't.
Hedges into straightaway center field at the wall. It's out of here. Austin Hedges doesn't have to sprint this time. He can jog around the bases. His 9th home run of the season. 2-0 San Diego.
You go, Austin Hedges.
Yes, sir.
Stolen base, home run. He's showing the speed game and also the power game. What I love about Austin Hedges, he's starting to feel like now I have a presence in the batter's box. Made some very good adjustments. Watch how he leans back on this pitch. Has that sound off the barrel of the bat. He knows it's gone.
You don't do that often to dead center. Sweet, as we've seen Austin Hedges really start to catch fire over the last 2-3 weeks. What is it that you're seeing in his swing that's a little different?
Well, I like how he's hunting his strike zone. I think that's the priority. And then he's not fouling balls off, which we saw a lot of at the beginning of the year. And sometimes you can start thinking mechanically you have to change things. It has a lot to do with you squaring the balls up that you're supposed to. Really refining your strike zone. I think he's done a really nice job of that.
It's really funny you mentioned that, because a lot of times when guys are struggling, we all tend to look at what he's swinging at with 2 strikes, but it's the strike 1 foul off or the strike 2 take that puts them into those situations, and that doesn't always, it's not always indicative of how a guy is actually swinging the bat.
Spangenberg was at the plate when Hedges stole his base back in the 2nd inning. He struck out, and now 2-2. Boy, Austin Hedges, you saw the numbers. He is really clicking at the plate, and it's made a huge difference in this Padre lineup. You stick him in the middle of the order, you're getting contributions. Nice curveball for strike 3 to Corey. And this tonight against the guy Eflin, he seems to be in a pretty good group.
Yeah, I mean, Eflin in particular, I mean, he's one of those guys that Padres had for a minute. He's really commanded the baseball extremely well today. Breaking ball has been sharp. Fastball, it just seems like it's 94, not overpowering by any stretch of the imagination, but it seems like the Padres are a little bit behind it, not really getting good swings off on it all the time.
I think pitching coach Rick Kranitz understands that he's got to show different shapes to that breaking ball, the slider, the big curveball. Also set up that high fastball.
Eflin jumps in front of Galvis, 0-2. Padres drafted him 33rd overall back in 2012. Traded to the Dodgers in the Matt Kemp deal and then immediately flipped to Philadelphia. Jimmy Rollins went from Philly to the Dodgers in that trade.
How strange was that for you? You've been in a Phillies uniform. Jimmy Rollins meant everything to the city of Philadelphia, and he goes to Dodgers and in Dodger uniform.
It was really crazy. I mean, not only him, but you had Chase Utley also change uniforms and go from Philly to LA. It was very unusual. I mean, you see guys who have been in a uniform their whole entire career and have meant so much to a city, and then they get traded and they're putting on a completely different uniform. It's always interesting to see.
Jake Arrieta of the Philly agrees with you. I don't know about you. I always think of him as an Oriole.
That's when he was certainly a little bit easier to hit it.
He doesn't even want to remember that.
Galvis drove in the first run with the RBI single back in the second. And battling here against Eflin.
It's funny you mentioned that because I have had the opportunity to face him as an Oriole and as a Cub. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, it was a lot funner swinging against him when he was Oriole.
Clean shaven as an Oriole, too. Handled nicely by Santana at first base. That'll end the fourth. Padres, though, get another. Austin Hedges, with his 9th home run of the season. A shot to straightaway center field here against Zach Eflin. Padres 2, and the Phillies nothing after 4. Andy Heilbrunn, Mike Pomerantz, and a crew of thousands. I'm Jesse Agler. Strike one delivered to the pitcher, Zach Eflin. He tried to sacrifice his first time, did so unsuccessfully. 6'6" pitcher in the batter's box. Takes the curve from Jacob Nix, who, guys, has looked more and more comfortable as this MLB debut has gone on.
Settling in, and I think has a lot to do with him landing his secondary stuff. So a good changeup to Alfaro for the strikeout.
Couple of Ks here. He's worked with great tempo and not a lot of hard contact. Pretty much what we were told we were going to get out of Jacob Nix.
Tony, Jesse and I were talking about it. Now you're starting to see these younger pitchers, but they implement the pitch clock down in the minor leagues, and they're working quicker.
I've definitely noticed the tempo of Jacob Nix.
Nix, as you can see there in the box, spells his name N-I-X. That is tied for the shortest last name in Padre history. You got Nix, J, Ray, May, will rhyme.
A lot of Lees.
And a lot of Lees. Roa, Sear, 1, 2, 3, 5 Lees. But Nix now in a very exclusive club. You know the longest?
I was just going to ask that. I wonder who it is.
Middlebrooks. It's tied with somebody else, but I forget who. But Will Middlebrooks. So I think it was with the Phillies in spring training this year. And it was with the Padres 2014, 15. The year when they brought in Kemp and friends. Will Middlebrooks tied for the longest last name in Padre history. Hard hit the other way. That'll end a string of 8 in a row retired by Nix. Cesar Hernandez pushes it the other direction. He walked his last time. And the Phillies with their first hit since all the way back in the second inning. You didn't think we were going to get to shortest names in Padre history tonight, did you?
I didn't. I had no material for that at all.
You weren't prepared for the 5 Lees?
No, I wasn't prepared at all. That's why I kept my mouth shut the whole time.
That's a Chiron Bob special if ever there was one. Hoskins, as mentioned, made his major league debut 1 year ago today, exactly 1 year before Jacob Nix. And now they go head to head. Hoskins is 0 for 2. Let's take a look at StatCast AI, powered by AWS.
That's the area you got to worry about right there.
And Hoskins crossed up there, now 1-1.
Once again, you just don't see good swings coming off the fastball of Jacob Nix. Rhys Hoskins hits the fastball very well. Just looked like he didn't see that ball that well.
Now a ball and 2 strikes. We mentioned earlier, Nix becomes the 13th Padre to make his big league debut this season. How many of the others can you guys name? Let's put you on the spot here.
Trey Wingington,
Simber, who got traded to the Cleveland Indians.
Walker Lockett.
Lauer, Lucchesi.
We're talking just pitchers?
Everybody, all
Franmil
dozen.
Reyes.
There you go. There's a strikeout. Rhys Hoskins down to a knee. Good changeup. And now 3 strikeouts for Jacob Nix.
Jose Castillo.
Well, good changeup. Saw that by Faro. Now he's starting to get that arm action. If you maintain that arm speed with that changeup.
Not only that, he's throwing it righty on righty. So confidence is high right now for Jacob Nix.
In his AAA debut, which was his last start prior to this one, he struck out 3, and now he's got 3 strikeouts in his big league debut. He did throw for El Paso in the postseason last year, but began this season at AA San Antonio, then on to the Chihuahuas, where he threw 6 shutout innings in his last start. Consistently getting ahead.
And you know what? A.J. Preller said something interesting. They're not afraid to push the envelope with some of these guys, the younger pitchers they're incorporating that. And I think it has a lot to do with what Jacob Nix is all about. Them sending him to AAA last year to pitch that Game 4 of the playoff series. You have to be able to handle it mentally, but also physically. That you can tell them when you're ready. Jacob Nix has that mound presence that I think you fall in love with.
Talk about settling in. 25 pitches in the first, and ever since, pretty good. Ahead of Williams, no balls, 2 strikes, and that one off the handle to Spangenberg. Corey's got it, and Hosmer makes a nice play. Another good inning from Jacob Nix here in his big league debut. Brought to you by Petco, the pet company, by your San Diego Mazda dealers, and by Staples, the back-to-school specialty store. Bottom of the fifth, the Petco Padres a 2-0 lead on the Phillies. Phils took 2 out of 3 when these two teams got together right out of the All-Star break at Citizens Bank Park. Carlos Asuaje, number 8 hitter leading off, goes after the first pitch and fouls it away against Zach Eflin. Guys, we were talking about Padres to make their major league debuts this season. I just don't want to leave anybody out. So the full list: Simber, Makita, Brewer, Stock, Lockett, Winginter, Kennedy, Castillo, Lauer, Lucchesi, Reyes, and Javi Guerra is maybe the trickiest of all.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna figure that one out.
Jacob Nix added his name to that list today. He's on deck to hit for himself as Asuaje taps out, and Jacob Nix is going to get a second AB, which I don't think was necessarily a guarantee. Obviously, they wanted to monitor the workload a little bit tonight, but he's done an outstanding job. Our Coors Light refreshing finish. It was the third inning. Nick Williams was at the plate, and he was frozen. First strikeout in Jacob Nick's major league career. And how about this? He sends it the other way over towards the line, Williams, and he can't get there. Well, they had him played that way, that's for sure.
So nice to see the Knicks family out in a huge bunch down there today.
Yeah, they got the jerseys on.
Yeah,
they're representing, and I love it.
Fouled that one off of himself, 0-2. Yeah, you saw the outfield swung all the way around the other way. I guess they're not expecting him to pull the ball.
Yeah, that's typical. And as an outfield, that shift in the center field are really all the way over into that right center gap is Herrera.
Just means there's extra bases out there for Jacob Nix. Not this time. He strikes out looking. That's 8 for Zach Eflin. And a couple of quick outs here in the bottom of the fifth. Eflin, we mentioned, drafted by the Padres, who are now the last National League team he's ever faced. He had faced everybody else, not counting Philadelphia, of course. And pitching at Petco Park, which I'm sure when he was drafted, that's where he imagined doing his work.
Yeah, and Eflin came over to the Phillies, and remember, he was a sinker baller, throwing 90, 91, possibly 92. Now you're starting to see mid to upper 90s with the fastball. Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, has to be very pleased how he has developed, especially at this big league level.
We mentioned, like Nix in the minors, Eflin in the majors, very few walks, hasn't issued any here tonight. And that goes very well with the 8 strikeouts, and now right in front of Manuel Margot.
And look at Zach Eflin's body. I mean, he's a big kid. Long legs. That's where he generates that 94, 95 mile per hour fastball.
Margot shoots that one towards right field. Williams was in. He's got to go back, but he will get there to make the play. And it's a 1-2-3 fifth for Zach Eflin.
could be or should be playing every day in the major leagues that aren't playing every day in the major leagues. That's the sign that you're starting to become a good team. Before, there was none of those issues whatsoever. We were trying to fill out 9 spots on a baseball field. Now we're starting to see guys like, hey, this guy might have a reason to be an everyday outfielder. This guy might have a reason to be an everyday outfielder. This guy has stuff you like. And so those are problems that every first division club has. They haven't been issues here in San Diego. So if we're starting to get to that point, we need to get to that point more often.
The outfield competition, and as you would say, it's a good problem to have, this competition in the outfield. You're getting an influx of guys right now that are not only hitting at the plate, but they're also playing solid defense. And with Will Myers coming back into the mix, there's going to be some tough decisions made. I talked to Travis Jankowski today, and he said that this is gut check time. He said the rest of the season, these guys are going to want to play as best as they can and separate themselves from the pack. And even he said today it's getting harder and harder to crack the lineup because guys are playing so well. So, you know, Jesse and Sweens, this is what they wanted at the beginning of the season. They wanted to have this competition, and now you're really seeing it take hold, and it'll be interesting to watch for the rest of the season.
Well, thank you, Annie, and I agree, because with competition, you need to know that you need to be prepared for your opportunities. And I take Franmil Reyes, for example, going down there and making the proper adjustments in AAA after his first performance at the big league level. A lot of strikeouts. He had to make that adjustment, came back, and with rejuvenated mechanics, he has made those adjustments, and he's earning his more playing time, and the same goes for Hunter Renfroe.
Yeah, that's the guy that I have been focused on, because I've honestly felt from the very beginning of the season he's done a better job of commanding the strike zone. Now, that being said, he didn't have a lot of numbers to kind of back that up, but when you stick at something for a while, you keep working at it, eventually you keep putting that work and it starts to come to fruition. I think that's what you're seeing from not only Franmil Reyes, but also Hunter Renfroe, a guy who was controlling the strike zone pretty much all season, wasn't necessarily getting the swing off the way he needed to. Now, because he's putting himself in such good hitting counts, he's now able to get that A swing, and we've seen it these last 4 days.
Great to see these guys being pushed by one another. It's completely changing, as Andy said, the way that he puts his lineup together every day. It's gone from boy, it almost doesn't matter in a way because everybody's kind of in the same place to, hey, Hunter Renfroe now has started 8 games in a row.
Yeah, and you know why? Because you are ready and prepared for an injury. You know you're not the same without Will Myers, but for a perspective of a player that's waiting for that playing time, you have to be ready. You have to get your work done, because you're not replacing Will Myers. You're going out there and performing a game that you love to play.
Right. Now, the X factor with all of that, of course, is that Will Myers is on track to return pretty soon from the disabled list. Had a bone bruise on his foot. Luckily, turned out to not be as bad as it could have been. And we've seen him out there the last couple of days taking ground balls at third base. And Andy hasn't fully tipped his hand yet in terms of saying, yeah, this is something we're going to do. There's only one reason why you work as hard taking ground balls at third base as Will has. It seems like something we'll probably see at some point this year.
I wouldn't be surprised if you saw it before the season ended. And why not? Because Andy Green understands that trying to get the most potential offensively and more bats in the lineup, Will Myers might have to shift to third base. And to get him engaged into the game where he played first base before, remember he's a center fielder. So you have to have the ability to be versatile, and maybe that is the way that they're going to get the best version of Will Myers, but also, more importantly, the best lineup out on the field.
Yeah, I think it also has to do with that 40-man crunch that's coming around the corner for the Padres. They have to get a look, and they have an abundance of outfielders. So they've got to be able to get the at-bats to actually gauge if some of these guys are going to be worth protecting on that 40-man roster or not. A good way to do that, or really the only way to do that, is by moving Will to third so that you can get those guys every day at bats and actually see what you have.
Meanwhile, Jacob Nix is having the best big league debut of any of the Padres starting pitchers to have done it this season. He has been masterful now through 5 2/3 against a Philadelphia team that has the 6th most home runs in the National League. And really has a lot of dangerous hitters most of the way up and down the lineup.
And how he's doing it, guys, is he's starting to mix in that secondary stuff. That changeup has been improved. Also pitching backwards. And now he's starting to show that chemistry between Austin Hedges and himself, and really feeling like, you know what, this is the game that I absolutely love, going out and competing. It's been impressive.
Padres had that great road trip, as this one is grounded to Hosmer. They never had a pitcher go 6 on that trip to Chicago and Milwaukee. Jacob Nix just did. Arco, guys, Jacob Nix, unbelievable tonight.
Absolutely filthy. We talked about that fastball, but here are some of the off-speed curveball, changeup. Actually was excellent with his secondary pitches today.
Eric Hosmer goes after the first pitch that Zach Eflin throws here in the 6th inning. He's now had back-to-back singles. And the Padres with the leadoff man aboard here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Guys, Jacob Nix just became the first Padres starting pitcher to get through 6 innings since the last game these two teams played against each other, July 22nd in Philadelphia.
Well, tip of the cap, because he did get some hugs and some handshakes when he came into the dugout. So you wonder if Andy Green will go to the bullpen. If indeed he does, that's a nice first outing for Jacob Nix.
Heck of an accomplishment. So the Padres trying to add on here in support of Jacob Nix. Got a run in the 2nd inning on the Galvis base hit. Brought home Austin Hedges, who had stolen a base to put himself in scoring position, and then Hedges homered in the 4th inning. So this young battery doing it all for the Padres here tonight.
So nice to watch Jacob Nix on that bump, and you could just see the confidence building after each inning. By that last 6th inning he just threw the changeup, you almost would consider it an out pitch the way he was throwing it. Just don't see too many pitchers with changeups as an out pitch, but he certainly used it to his advantage tonight.
Alfaro going to the wristband to figure out what he wants to do on 1 and 2 to Renfroe.
You know, another thing, guys, if indeed this is his last inning, he's going to meet up with his family. He's going to be able to give all those hugs and kisses and thanks. Then he's going to go back to the hotel room, and he is going to sleep like a baby.
He'll probably start feeling his legs at that point, too.
Yes.
Probably slept very little last night. And like you said, tonight, forget it. Renfroe, selective as ever at the plate, has worked at 2 and 2.
It's been fun to watch lately. It really has.
It's almost like he's a completely different guy. Still has the power. Just a lot different in terms of the way the at-bats look. And in all the right ways.
There's a sense of calm when he's in the box right now that just wasn't there, especially with 2 strikes last year. I don't know that he could foul off that breaking ball we seen him foul off 2 pitches ago.
On 2-2, he breaks his bat and floats that one out towards second base. It's going to be a double play. Coming up in the middle of the 7th inning, stay tuned for the Arco game break with Mike Pomerantz and Tony Gwynn Jr. Franmil Reyes with 2 outs and the base is empty after Renfroe tapped into that double play.
Swain, how far does confidence take you in the box? Because that's the thing that's standing out to me from the offensive side for this Padres team.
Yeah.
They just seem like a more confident team offensively.
Yeah, I think the at-bats have grown better as you've seen the game go along, and also the tough at-bats. You've seen a little more grind, a little more fight that Andy talks about. And I think it's important for people to realize that it's a process to realize what your strike zone is and how you can go and attack it. But with 2 strikes, the adjustments you can make, maybe go to your B swing, that takes experience and time. And you're starting to see that from these young hitters.
Now 3 balls and a strike on one of them. And Franmil Reyes, even when we saw him back in spring training this year, he seemed to have a pretty good sense of the strike zone. He was patient in his approach. And obviously, once the lights come on in the regular season, it's a whole nother thing. And he's done a good job with a disciplined approach. Slow roller here, and Franco makes it look easy to end the 6th inning. Thanks to Tony Gwynn Jr. Thanks to Jacob Nix. 2-0 San Diego. Let's talk bat flip. Maikel Franco had a walk-off against Miami on the last homestand for the Phils. And, well, let's wait for it. Wait for it. There it is. Helmet pops off, takes the bat about halfway. Hunter Renfroe, the big slam yesterday. We're calling this take a bow. What do you got?
I think he was honoring Carlos Asuaje with that bat flip.
With the knee bend.
Yeah. I don't care what you do. When you hit a grand slam, you can throw that bat anywhere you want.
Home runs in 4 consecutive games for Hunter Renfroe. Only 2 other times, or only 2 times, has a Padre hitter ever had 5 games in a row with a home run. Adrian Gonzalez in 2009. And Greg Nettles did it in 1984. He had 6 straight games with a home run. Matt Strom in to pitch here in the 7th, and the first pitch he throws is hit deep and foul by Michael Franco. No bat flip necessary there.
Now you see Matt Strom's numbers and very good work. Start thinking about what he has done against right-handers. It's because of that breaking ball, but also the ability to throw to his glove side into right-handed hitters.
That one sliced into right field. It'll be a base hit and a leadoff single for Franco, who had twice grounded out against Jacob Nix. There have been so few opportunities for Andy Green to manage his bullpen in close games with the lead since the Brad Hand trade.
Yeah, and I think when you start developing those different roles, you need those games early to try to get that confidence for a lot of guys. Matt Strom has the ability to be that hybrid reliever, possible starter in the future.
Number 8 hitter, the catcher Alfaro. Alfaro 7 home runs on the year, and Strom does not get that call. You could see Austin Hedges almost surprised by the fact that Mike Winters didn't give him the strike. Travis Jankowski into the game as part of a double switch. He'll bat 9. Franmil Reyes is out, so Renfroe moves to right. Padres doing some defensive things to protect this 2-run lead in the 7th inning. Three balls and no strikes to Alfaro. Swinging and fouling it back, 3-1.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Roman Quinn waiting in the on-deck circle for Philadelphia. It's a much different looking Phillies bench than when we saw them last month at Citizens Bank Park. Might have heard Justin Bour added by a trade from Miami today. He's not expected to be here till tomorrow, but 4 different bench players that the Padres saw in Philly are now in AAA for the Phils. And now the count full, 3-2.
Yeah, going through some struggles after that All-Star break and modifying the bench. I think Justin Bour is going to be a nice adjustment. Obviously, Carlos Santana is their regular first baseman. Gabe Kapler understands for you to be a successful club, you need to get those clutch hits off the bench.
It was 3-0 on Alfaro. And now ball 4.
When you're America's best value, you don't need some over-the-top celebration.
Meeting on the mound with Matt Strom, Austin Hedges, and company. Padres trying to protect a 2-0 lead for Jacob Nix here in his major league debut. But the first 2 Phils have reached in the top of the 7th inning. Michael Franco a single, and now Alfaro a walk. So Strom has put himself in a little bit of a tricky spot here. 2 on, nobody out in a 2-run game. Craig Stammen getting ready to go, and I imagine in a perfect world Andy Green would have liked to use Stammen in the 8th and then Kirby Yates in the 9th, assuming this stayed a close game with the lead.
You got to be careful of the bunt here, and also Quinn has a lot of speed. Puts a lot of pressure on that defense. Have to be buttoned up. A lot of communication going around the infield. Freddie Galvis instructing everyone around the infield where your responsibilities are.
Quinn 4 times in his major league or minor league career had 30 or more steals in a season. He is showing bunt, but he takes a strike. Hedges throws down, and that one nearly got away. Good job by Freddie Galvis keeping it on the infield.
Now watch Austin Hedges. Doesn't have a lot of room to really work through that throw. He pulls it on that shortstop side. It's played by Galvis.
Franco at second. Alfaro the runner at first, with nobody out in the top of the 7th. Does not show bunt this time, but the slider misses. 1-1.
I almost want to force him to try to bunt towards first base here. You know how aggressive Eric Hosmer is in these defensive situations. Right here puts a lot of pressure on Corey Spangenberg, the third baseman.
Spangenberg and Hosmer both charging pretty aggressively, swinging away again and taking a strike. 1-2. Looked like the Phillies had given up on the bunt play after strike 1, and now obviously with 2 strikes, Padre infield can back up a little bit, get comfortable.
And still with that speed. Might shorten up just a little bit, and it's a priority to get an out in this situation, even with 2 strikes. It would be huge as a punch out.
Quinn now appearing only in his 11th big league game of this season. And he got him. Strom blew the fastball past him, and a huge first out for Matt Strom here in the top of the 7th.
Got a failure by Quinn, and this is a big situation for Matt Strom. Going to that fastball at the top of the zone. A good finish and good life over the barrel of the bat.
So now Matt Strom is a well-placed ground ball away from getting out of this thing unscathed. Cesar Hernandez, though, has very good speed and has been aboard safely twice in 3 trips here tonight. Batting right-handed for the first time. He takes high from Strom. Seemed like all night Jacob Nix was getting ahead of the Philadelphia batters. Strom having some trouble commanding here early in the count against these guys. Hernandez pops it up. Hosmer and Asuaje both giving it a look, and Eric hits the net. 2-2.
Let's see if he would have made that play. You see the netting running into that. I think he makes that play without the netting. with some of these stadiums that implemented that netting, change of a lot of things, including the pop-up.
Hernandez flinched at it. Strom doesn't get the call. And now a full count, 3-2.
Yeah, pretty good pitch.
Got him. 2 away here in the 7th. Back-to-back strikeouts for Matt Strom.
Well, why you love Matt Strom, because 3-2, he's thrown a lot of fastballs. He goes to the changeup. And waving at that changeup is Hernandez for a second strikeout of the inning.
Now 2 on and 2 out. Hoskins held in check by Nix, but he's got more homers, RBIs, and doubles than anybody else on the Philadelphia team.
He likes the ball out over the plate. That's where his power stroke is, and it's to all fields.
Strom put the 2 guys on. Base hit by Franco, walked by Alfaro. But since then, a strikeout of the pinch hitter Quinn and of the leadoff man Cesar Hernandez. Now all he's got to do is figure out Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah, you wonder if he's going to throw him a changeup here in this situation, because he's crowded him with that fastball in.
Hoskins takes strike 2.
We've seen that changeup be successful in this inning. Just saw another one for second strike. You see that slider gets around it. Excuse me. Perfect placement, and Hedges sticking it on the outside part of the plate.
Hoskins dangerous but slumping. Now 0 for his last 19. Strom trying to wriggle his way out of this one. Here's the 1-2, and it's down by the feet. The literal back foot slider.
Well, he's got a couple options. He can go fastball elevated, or he can go back to that changeup.
On 2-2, a ground ball handled by Strom. And the inning is over. Matt Strom works around the single and the walk. Couple of Ks, fields his position. Time now for our Arco game break with Mike Pomeranz and Tony Gwynn Jr.
Guys, thanks very much. I think the story of this game going in certainly was young Jacob Nix, and Tony had a chance to see him from several vantage points in the ballpark. Anything stand out to you?
The changeup stood out to me. I mean, fastball command was great, but the changeup, especially as he got deeper into games, just got better and better and nastier. And I think that's why he was able to get through today's game with 6 innings.
Here's him facing Jorge Alfaro earlier in this game, and a chance to show that mix that Andy Green was talking about.
See the 93 mile per hour fastball. It falls behind 2-0, gets to give me fastball for a strike. 2-1, comes back with the curveball. Now you see the changeup. After that fastball, 2-2, comes back with the changeup. The bottom just completely falls out of it. That's the kind of pitching you want to see from a guy making his debut. His secondary pitches were on point today.
You asked if he was going to be able to handle the nerves. What do you think?
He did fantastic. He did better than I did. I know that. I know that for sure. Can't be easy being a starting pitcher, having to perform out here with almost your entire family here watching, but he mastered it and did as good as a job as you can possibly do.
Padres lead 2-0. Back to more baseball in a moment, but first the message from our friends at Arkham.
He had scored back in the second inning. He scores another, gave the Padres a 2-0 lead, and guess what? That is still the score here in the bottom of the seventh inning.
Well, Austin Hedges is one of those other guys that has made some very good adjustments at the plate. Come up big, and also that stolen base still looms large in this game.
Never really thought we'd be talking about Austin Hedges' stolen base being a key moment in the night, but it absolutely has been. And Zach Eflin, who gave up those 2 runs to Hedges and the Padres, is done. Phils will go to the left-hander, Adam Morgan. We saw him a couple of times when the Padres were at Citizens Bank Park.
Yeah, very aggressive left-hander, and you can see has a very good understanding of what he has to do, responsibilities against left-handers, but has a good strikeout numbers. 1 strikeout in innings, pretty good.
Hedges to lead it off, then the switch hitter. Then Corey Spangenberg, a left-handed hitter, and then the switch hitter, Freddie Galvis. Gabe Kapler, obviously in his first year as the Philadelphia manager, so we got to watch him, manage a bullpen in person for the first time last month. He's not afraid to make a change.
Well, he struggled at the beginning of the year as a first-year manager. Went through some growing pains, and now probably settled into his roster, knowing certain roles. Unconventional manager that will take some opportunities, and Gabe Kapler understands he's learning on the job, but has a lot of confidence in his abilities to manage a ball club.
Certainly a Manager of the Year candidate in the National League. Time now for Lowe's whole team together. Padres have knocked in 45 runs in August, more than any other team in the National League. And again, they've been spreading it out. Hunter Renfroe obviously leading the way, but this is how you have a 4-3 road trip against 2 really good teams.
Yeah, team offense has been very much improved.
Hedges strikes out to open the bottom of the 7th inning, 1 out. And Austin retired for the first time in this game. We're talking about the Phils, and this time last year, they were 43-71. They're 64-50 right now. Last year at this time, they were -94 in their run differential. Today, +33. They didn't get their 64th win until September 27th last year. That's how many wins they have coming into this game.
Yeah, and to your point, I think Gabe Kapler puts his name in the hat for the Manager of the Year. Because of that turnaround, he's changed the culture and also enhanced some of these younger players to play better and grow up quicker in the game.
I think it's fair to say they seem to have arrived ahead of schedule.
Yeah, and you know what? That sometimes it's hard to predict. But when you go out there and you acquire Carlos Santana, you get Cabrera in a trade, and you start implementing certain guys into a young, talented roster, including a very good pitching staff.
Spangenberg strikes out, and 6 pitches, 2 Ks for Adam Morgan in the 7th.
This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the San Diego Padres may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
It's funny because I remember in December when the Phils went out and signed Carlos Santana, it felt like a little bit of a curious move. Kind of a veteran guy, and they had Hoskins, who it was I think presumed to be the guy at first base, and then Arrieta, in spring training, and you go, okay, what do the Phillies got going on? And obviously they felt they were closer, I think, than a lot of the outside people did.
Well, they have the revenue too to go out there and make a splash.
Galvis lines one to center field. And a 2-out single for Freddie. He's 2 for 3. Drove in the first Padre run back in the second inning. Continues to wear out his old team.
Freddie, show them what they miss. You can see the changeup, the high changeup, and off the end of the bat, but slashed perfectly up the middle of the diamond. With the deep pockets of the Philadelphia Phillies and making those splashes, the free agency is going to be pretty interesting. They're going to be big players this offseason. Manny Machado is going to come to mind. Also Bryce Harper. And you think about this lineup and how they can enhance themselves along with the starting pitching talent that they have. Understand the Phillies aren't going to go away.
Aaron Nola going to get the nod tomorrow as Kapler looks over the numbers. And Nola's in that Cy Young conversation in the National League. 12-3 with a 2.37 earned run average.
And you need guys to step up. And that's what Aaron Nola did. He had the confidence already, but now you're starting to make that adjustment to another level, an all-star, possible Cy Young Award winner. Everyone follows suit. That's the reason why they went out and signed Jake Arrieta.
Arrieta will pitch here on Sunday. It's a 12:40 game, by the way, not the usual 1:10 on Sunday. So adjust your calendars accordingly. You have a calendar? You use a calendar still?
I do on my iPhone.
Yeah. Not a real actual like desk calendar.
No, I can't do that because I'd be messy. I'm a messy handwriter. Your penmanship is unbelievable, by the way.
It's all right. It's very small.
Yeah, but it's clean.
Thank you. Not that bad. I'm looking at yours.
For a left-hander, that's pretty good.
That's right, because you're constantly running into the seam.
Yeah, we do the hook job.
Yeah. Do you have like special left-handed scissors?
No, they actually cut right-handed.
Do you? Galvis running, and he steals a base. Well, the Phillies are going to be more than happy to be done with Freddie Galvis this season. Traded him to the Padres this offseason, and he has just absolutely worn these guys out in every way.
Yeah, not a huge jump, but he goes on. As soon as Morgan goes to home plate, and Alfaro has that strong throwing arm, but takes a long time to get that ball released. Now pushing the envelope is the Padres, and why not? When you have that lead, just that extra run could be a huge difference.
First stolen base for Galvis since July 12th. 3 of his previous 4 came in April and May. Now full count on Asuaje, and yeah, I mean that steal by Austin Hedges back in the second inning set up a run. Opportunity here to cash in. Asuaje sends it in the air, and Herrera, the center fielder, makes the catch. 7 in the books at Petco. Still 2-0 San Diego.
brought to you by Cox Communications. Craig Stammen in trying to help preserve this lead right now, maybe get young Jacob Nix his first big league win.
Yeah, certainly so. With the loss of Brad Hand, everybody slots up, or slots back, I should say, in the back of that bullpen, and Stammen is now taking the 8th inning. He's been good all year long in that spot. Whether it be the 7th or 8th, the times he's had, he's going to need to do it again tonight. Get the ball to Kirby Yates in the 9th.
Yeah, nice job by Strom. Now to Stammen. Hopefully that will be the sequence, and Yates and the Padres will be able to collect Nix's first win of his young career, just his big league debut. So coming up on the post-game show, we'll hear from Jacob, hear what his thoughts are on making that first appearance here at Petco Park. You're going to hear from Andy Green, and we've got a preview of Padres POV, which will follow us tonight immediately.
Mike, Tony, thank you both. Stammen has been wonderful, of course, going back to last year for the Padres, trying to set it up for Kirby Yates, who has, I think, now pitched in 5 consecutive non-save situations.
Yeah, and you think about, we already touched on that, of trying to set up your bullpen, but for Craig Stammen, this is the high leverage reliever that has really pitched well, especially after that much needed all-star break. He was running on fumes leading into that.
Jumps right in front of the first guy he sees, Nick Williams, 0-2.
Well, why I say he was on fumes is because he just takes the ball. He's that reliever that says, Andy, I want it. I want big situations.
Williams hits it hard into center field on the run. Margot coming in, won't be able to get there. Does keep it in front of him, and that will keep Williams at first base. So leadoff single for the 2nd consecutive inning for the Phillies in a 2-run game.
You see just dumping into center field. Manny Margot playing a deeper center field in that situation with Williams up. Nothing you can do with that off the end of the bat.
Carlos Santana struck out his last time. That was against Jacob Nix, who threw 6 shutout innings in his big league debut here tonight. 4 hits, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Switch hitter goes after the first pitch and sends it into deep left. Jankowski is there, and Travis makes the catch, 1 away. Time now for the Harris game summary, and oh boy, that's your headline right there. Jacob Nix in his major league debut, outstanding, struck out Williams in the 3rd for the first K of his career. And then offensively, Freddie Galvis drives in Austin Hedges, who had stolen second base to give the Padres a 1-0 lead. 2 innings later, Hedges with his 9th home run of the season to make it 2-0 San Diego. And that is still the score as we work here with 1 out in the 8th inning. Nice night for the young backstop. As Drupal Cabrera, another switch hitter, like Santana before him. Singled his first time. Since then, a fly out and a ground out. Lines this one over to Asuaje. That's 1. Galvis turns it. Double play. Craig Stammen sets it up. And in the bottom of the 8th inning, the Padres will try and add on to their 2-0 lead. Nicely done up the middle. They call that 4-6-3. to you by Sequan Casino. Opening 2019, Sequan's brand new 300-room resort and hotel. By Jack in the Box. This season, Padres home runs score free Jumbo Jacks only at Jack in the Box. And by Car Shield. 2-0 Padres in the bottom of the 8th inning. Travis Jankowski batting for the first time tonight. Came into the game as part of a double switch in the 7th inning to play left field. Travis hitting .258 this year. Led off, played center field yesterday in Milwaukee. A rare day off for Manuel Margot, and all Travis did was go 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run scored. Kirby Yates. Unless the Padres add 2 or more runs, will have an opportunity to pick up a save in the top of the 9th inning. 6, 7, and 8 due up for Philadelphia. Morgan worked a relatively quick 7th inning. And with a right-handed hitter on deck and another left-hander after that. Be interesting to see how Gabe Kapler handles this. Gets him. 3rd strikeout for Morgan here in his 2nd inning of work.
Hey, baseball fans, MLB.TV is now available at a lower price for $59.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game, plus get a free subscription to MLB At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV to take advantage of this special offer.
Gabe Kapler is going to take the baseball from the left-hander Morgan, with Manuel Margot coming up. A change for Philadelphia. Padres lead by 2 in the 8th.
We start talking probably like 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then we're bouncing ideas off each other all day long.
Conference calls,
yeah.
which really sets up the day. Then we start formulating conversations with our producer that day, and then Mike and I will come in, and this is when we really formulate what's happening on air.
Tune in tonight for a brand new episode of Padres POV as Lisa takes the viewers behind the scenes at Fox Sports San Diego and shows the viewers what it takes to produce Padres baseball. And Stephen Rose is all over that video.
Really?
Our producer.
The Stephen
who we
Rose?
absolutely love. Does a great job. And Mike Pomeranz.
It is a wonderful cast of characters as Luis Garcia, tough against righties and lefties, comes in with Margot Hosmer due up here, 1 out in a 2-run game. You know, I normally do radio, and there's like 3 of us. It's Teddy, myself, and Dave Marcus. That's it. And we do whatever we do over there. You come over to television, it's absolutely incredible the number of people who work to make all of this happen.
It's a band of brothers and sisters, and we're very thankful.
Big time. In between hop over at third base, and Michael Franco handles it very nicely. 2 away. So now 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th, and Here's a look at tomorrow's Verizon projected starters. Walker Lockett will go for the Padres. Another young guy made his major league debut this season, and as mentioned, Aaron Nola, 12-3 with a sub 2.5 ERA. Hosmer takes strike one from Garcia. Left-handed hitters only 9 for 50 against him, and so a good guy for Gabe Kapler to go to here after Morgan took care of Jankowski. Kirby Yates getting ready for the 9th inning. Odubel Herrera, Michael Franco, Jorge Alfaro are the Phillies scheduled to hit. As far as we know, Justin Bour is not here yet. Should be for tomorrow. And that's well struck into right field. How about a 3-hit night for Eric Hosmer? Single to left in the 3rd, to center in the 6th, and now to right here in the 8th.
I love it because he's handled the fastball tonight early in the game, but also hitting on a breaking ball. See him sitting back on that one. Gets that foot down and uses lower half so well. Reaches out, drills this to center field.
The bonus is the inning continues as Hosmer gets the 2-out base hit, and that'll give Hunter Renfroe another opportunity. Hunter has homered in 4 consecutive games. He's 0 for 3 tonight. In his first at bat, he flew out to very deep center field. Since then, a couple of ground ball double plays. That one goes to the backstop. And now Hosmer into scoring position. Wild pitch by Luis Garcia.
Yeah, it looked like a breaking ball that he just yanked. Now Faro tries to glove that instead of blocking the baseball. Ricochets off his right hand, his throwing hand.
Renfroe smacks that one over to Franco, who again handles a tricky hop pretty well. Nice throw to first, and that is how the 8th inning is going to come to a close. Padres will try and finish this thing off. Kirby Yates coming on in. And in his major league debut, it was a no-brainer for the 22-year-old Jacob Nix. Padres' 14th overall prospect through 6 shutout innings, allowed 4 hits, walked 2, struck out 4, 88 pitches, 63 of which were strikes. And Mark Sweeney, he was in command pretty much all night long.
Yeah, 16 first pitch strikes. I think the contingent that was here to watch Jacob Nix was very pleased at the outing. Settled in nicely, as Tony Gwynn Jr. talked about. The secondary stuff was much better as the game went along, and the confidence rose with every outing, and that was outstanding. And Kirby Yates has a lot of pressure for this 9th inning.
Trying to pick up a win for Jacob Nix in his major league debut. They talk about him settling in that first inning. He goes out there, he gets the first couple of guys, and you're thinking, all right, hey, big leagues, this ain't so tough. And then a single, a walk, another single. All of a sudden, it's bases loaded, 2 outs, but he got Herrera. And after that, it seemed like he was able to take that breath and really get back to basics.
Yeah, and you know what? He landed a couple change-ups, and his confidence rose with that pitch. Maybe he got a good feel for that as time went along, but very good showing, as we've talked about.
Threw 25 pitches in that first inning, didn't throw more than 15 in any of his other 5. Very good. And Kirby Yates starts off Odubel Herrera with a 95-mile-per-hour heater, 0-1. Kirby looking for his first save since July 23rd. The opportunities just haven't been there. 5 consecutive appearances prior to this one for Yates in non-save situations. Nothing you can do about that. Herrera lines it into center field, and that'll get down for a base hit. 3 consecutive innings that the Phillies have had a leadoff single. Got one against Strom in the 7th, Stammen in the 8th, and now Yates in the 9th.
I can see split finger, and it just elevates just enough. And Herrera hits it off the end of the bat, serving this into center field for a good start for the Phillies.
Maikel Franco grounded out his first 2 times up. He is grounded into more double plays than anybody else on this Philly roster. But Yates misses, ball 1.
Such a good pitch, 1-0. You start hunting that fastball and you run it in on the hands of Franco. He's got one thought on his mind. He wants to leave the building. Really exposes him to the split finger in this situation.
Hard hit but foul, and now 1-2. In the 7th inning, Matt Strom worked around not only a lead single but a walk right after that. Couple of strikeouts and a ground out. In the 8th, Nick Williams a lead single against Stammen, but after a fly ball he got a double play. And now Yates also trying to work around the lead man reaching here in the 9th. Another little looper into center field and another base hit. 2 on and nobody out for the Phillies here in the 9th.
Now it looked like Hedges wanted this ball up, and this ball's down, giving Franco an opportunity to fight this off to center field. Back-to-back singles by these Philly hitters, and they haven't squared a ball up yet.
Kingery is going to run over at first base for Franco. Utility infielder has lost playing time since the trade with the Mets. And he represents the potential tying run with nobody out here in the 9th.
Now puts pressure on the outfielders. Kingery has good speed at first base.
Alfaro, big slow catcher. And he takes the splitter 1-0. 1-1.
Yeah, good pitch. Alfaro wants to know where that is. It's off the plate, but a perfect placed fastball by Kirby Yates.
Andrew Knapp, the backup catcher, in the on deck circle for Philly.
And he's had some big hits off the bench, but a shorter bench for Gabe Kapler tonight.
Phillies left the bases loaded in the first inning. They left 2 men on base in the second. 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 7th. They've had some opportunities, but Nix, Strom, and Stammen kept them off balance in the first 8 innings. Now Kirby Yates trying to work his way out of trouble here in the 9th.
Oh, he's really crowded him with those fastballs. You wonder if he has that split finger in his back pocket. Looks like he's going up top.
Got him. Yates strikes out Alfaro, and a huge first out here in the top of the 9th inning.
Austin Hedges faked everyone out. He went to the split finger. Saw him throw that target up where he wanted to throw that elevated fastball. That's Sadiq. Really good split finger by Yates.
Knapp will be the pinch hitter. He's 0 for his last 8. Hitting .220 in 66 games this year.
Pinch hitters like that first pitch fastball off the bench.
He got it and he missed it. 0-1. Strike 2.
Knapp 5 for 25 off the bench, including 1 home run. That was a game winner.
Northern California guy, 2nd round pick out of Cal in 2013. Facing off with the Hawaiian, Kirby Yates. On 0-2. A little bit low and outside with that splitter.
That first pitch fastball up elevated. Might have to go to that here in this situation, seeing that split finger out of the hands of Yates.
Kirby has shown many times this year he can get that fastball past guys, usually 94, 95 miles an hour. Knapp's pretty well choked up on the bat, has been the entire AB. The 2-2 from Yates, fouled back. Let's revisit our keys to the game, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
Well, Nix and match, and you wanted to have a good outing by Jacob Nix. Well, he exceeded that. Very good. And Reyes and Renfroe staying hot, combined 0 for 7 tonight.
I really like Nix and match, though.
Thank you very much.
Have you started thinking about tomorrow yet?
No.
Lock it up, something like that? No?
I'm locked into this situation.
Ah, you're locking it in. Knapp swings and misses, and there's the elevated fastball. Back-to-back strikeouts, Kirby Yates. He's not out of the woods yet, but he can see the sun coming in through the branches.
Now Kirby Yates backing it up and knowing that he could go to that four-seam fastball at the top of the zone, and the reaction of Austin Hedges. Yeah, he realized he perfectly located four-seam fastball by Kirby Yates for a big punch-out.
Two on and two out for the leadoff hitter, Cesar Hernandez. Kingery at first base, the pinch runner, represents the potential tying run. First pitch fastball, and he gets the call, 0-1. Hernandez swings and misses, strike two. Crowd of over 26,000 on their feet here on a Friday night at Petco. Kirby Yates trying to collect his fourth save of the season and get a win for Jacob Nix in his major league debut. Hernandez waits, and a little tapper. Kirby's got it, and the ball game is over. Padres take game one of this series 2-0, and Jacob Nix throws 6 shutout innings to pick up his first major league win in his major league debut. Strong, Stammen, and Yates slam the door. Big night for Austin Hedges, and the Padres pick up their third shutout win of the season. Post-game show, Mike Pomeranz, Tony Gwynn Jr. coming up.
Gents, we'll be seeing just a couple of moments on this post-game show. Let's hear from Andy Green, his thoughts on his young starter, Jacob Nix. So we're also going to hear from Jacob himself, and we'll give you a preview of Padres POV, which will follow us immediately.